Okay guys, welcome back to Cycle Every Day. Thanks everyone for the support over the last couple of weeks. Today's video is about a comment actually that from one of the videos I did earlier from Casey Effinger, which was basically about maintenance and how to try and keep your Brompton working well. And so basically I've just kind of gone through all the kind of pre-ride checks that I do on this Brompton before I go anywhere, and also afterwards also how we clean it. So I've separated the video up into two different areas because the key thing really I think is actually keeping it clean, especially things like the chain. Yeah guys, if that sounds good, keep watching and we're going to crack on straight away with the pre-ride checks. First thing we check is the brakes. The main reason before we check the brakes before we go anywhere is because it's a bit awkward if you run along and you work out that your brakes don't work, so that's really important. So just make sure your brakes work. The next thing that we always check after unfolding it is the hinge clamps, so the one on the stem and the one on the frame as well. Make sure they're done up to hand height. The next bit is just the air pressure in the tyres, so making sure that they're set up to 110 psi. That's what we set it up to because we like it as firm as possible, because obviously that's going to help you when you're going along. Generally the more pressure you've got in the tyres, the easier it is to pedal. And the last one is this little nut at the end of where the gear changes on our internal hub. So this is really important because you need this in order to change the gears. And there's this little nut that you need to make sure is tightened up. If you don't tighten this up, there is a risk after a while that it will fall out and then your gear will just be stuck in third. And then finally, the last thing we'll do is check that we've got the Brompton pump on it and we haven't took it off for any reason. And also, we still haven't got our Brompton toolkit, but we're really hoping to get one soon, so we just make sure we've got our punch repair kits and our tools in the bag. I also bring a little rag with me as well, so if I do have to get my hands dirty, fix anything, I can wipe my hands with it, so that's quite useful. We're going to go on the commute, and so we're going to do about 36 kilometres, and we're going to see how dirty the Brompton is when we get back. It has rained, so I'm expecting it to be a little bit dirtier than normal, so we'll catch you shortly. Okay guys, so we're back from the ride, from the commute. Like I said, we've done about 36 kilometres along the canal, and because it's rained, the Brompton's got very dirty. It's a lot dirtier than it normally would be. But you can just see the canal paths around by us are just muddy, and you just get loads of, especially this time of year, off the trees you get loads of leaves and mud, kind of where you'd expect around the bottom bracket, especially on the chain as well, and round the kind of the gears at the back. So the key thing for maintenance, like I said before, is actually keeping the bike clean, especially the chain. The chain on the Brompton is very low to the ground, so it's going to wear out a lot faster. So just checking it to see whether it's actually dirty. As you can see, there's a lot of dirty oil on my chain. So what we're going to do is just going to give it a wash off to, first off, give it a wash off to get rid of all the dead leaves and so on. And then what I always do is start on the chain, and I always use a bit of disc brake cleaner because it gets rid of the grease to start with. So I put some onto a rag and basically use that and backpedal with it on the chain, so it gets rid of that the majority of that grease. And as you can see, it's cleaning off the majority of the grease, so that when we come to give it a good scrub to get inside the links, which is the important part, where we can get rid of it and we don't end up with too much grease on our brush either, so we get rid of most of the grease to start with. Once you've given it a good scrub, give it a few times, have a go with this brake cleaner again, and run your finger over the chain to see whether you have any oil on it. If you haven't, then that's brilliant. Now we can start washing the rest of the bike off. I just use car wash, if I'm honest with you. Give it a good scrub, good clean, get rid of all the dirt and so on, and then yeah, your bike's ready. What I always do is give it a dry off afterwards, but you can see now the bike's back to how we like it, nice and clean and ready for the next ride now, or nearly ready for the next ride, because of course the chain is clean but it has no oil on it at the moment. There is one other point I want to raise here actually, which we found over the past few, since we've been giving it a really good clean, is in the stem, water builds up, okay? So if you've been out in the rain or you've washed it, given it a good wash, make sure you take the stem, unclamp the stem and dry it out, because if not, you will get water build up there, and it will start to rust if you're not careful. So just give it a clean out with a towel and it will stop it from rusting. Now moving on to the chain, obviously it's clean, we've let it dry, so now what we're going to do is apply some oil to it. What I always do is start off where where your chain quick link is, and then you know when you've gone round and done the oiled the whole chain. I do it through this method, which is basically just adding the oil separately to the links. Although some people kind of just go give a good squirt of oil all the way through the chain. I just like doing it this way, so I just find it, I get the right amount of oil on the chain, so I don't have to worry about wiping it off as much. So yeah, just keep on going with that process all the way till you get back round to the quick link where you started. And now I know that I've done every single link on the chain. It's all oiled up, and now what I'm going to do is backpedal. So backpedal the chain about a few times to kind of get that oil circulating round. And that's pretty much it, and that's the Brompton all cleaned up, ready for the next ride out. So yeah guys, I mean, obviously I use the Brompton pretty much every day, so tomorrow for example when I come to ride it, I won't need to check the tyres, but I always kind of quickly go over that little list to start with, and just to make sure everything's, you know, everything's working, everything's done up, I'm not going to lose anything along the way. Hopefully you found that useful and interesting. Like I say, hopefully that's answered your question, Casey, and anyone else who was wondering. But that's what we do, and obviously I think keeping the Brompton nice and clean is the best way to keep it maintained and to make the things last longer. Let me know if I missed anything though. You know, do you do something differently? Would you add anything to that? I'd be really interested to know what you guys think. As always, you know, I really enjoy reading your comments. So guys, yeah, thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.